So I will start my class now, and today I will be talking about an important chapter. It is also a tough chapter, and this tough chapter is essentially enzyme. It's don't take it tough, but it's a very conceptual chapter, and this chapter you will have lots of questions coming. I will give you a suggestion of the questions which may come. Even though the exams may be online, but I think there'll be a central question paper we sent to all colleges. It should be something, it will be something like that. Maybe they're talking about it. No actual guidelines or that is present. In our college, at least they have made an examination committee. Let's see what happens. So, let's start. So, today I will be starting with enzymes. So, what are enzymes? Enzymes are essentially biocatalysts. So, biocatalysts are basically catalysts. They are catalysts, but they work in biological systems. That is, they work under physiological conditions. That is, under conditions where life can exist. For example, a reaction can occur at 800 degrees centigrade, but that 800 degrees centigrade in your body, you will not survive. Maybe the reaction will take place, but you will not be there anymore. You will become ashes then at 800 degrees centigrade. So, the bias. So the criteria of an enzyme is that it must work under physiological conditions of temperature and pH. Now, enzymes, what they do, they speed up a reaction. They lower the activation energy for a reaction. So let us look at a graph. Let us draw a graph. I am now drawing a graph. This is showing the free energy. So every compound, substrate or product has got some amount of energy inside, free energy present inside, G. And there is an energy state, and this side is the progress of a reaction. Now, say the substrate is at this energy. The substrate is at this energy state, and say the product is at a lower energy state. So the difference between the energy of a substrate and the product, this is the free energy change, or delta G. Every reaction, whether from substrate to product, it faces an activation barrier or energy barrier. That is, it faces a barrier, and then after it crosses the barrier, the substrate gets converted into the product. So what you find here actually, from this region, This is known as delta G with a strange symbol over here. This is the activation energy you need. You need this amount of activation energy. You have to provide this activation energy. You need to provide this energy. This energy needs to be provided for any particular reaction to be taking place. Otherwise, you keep a substrate, immediately it will get converted to product. It will get converted, but it will take several years. That gradually that reaction will take place and rust will take place. Say an iron is becoming iron oxide, gradually oxidization. But if you add a catalyst, it will become very fast. Or if you increase the temperature, you give energy, this substrate will get converted to product. But what you cannot do that in under physiological condition. You give it high energy, you can't. So you need enzymes for that thing to do. So what enzymes actually they do is they lower this activation energy. So what enzymes does is enzymes they lower this activation energy so that the reaction takes place faster. There, this delta G or this free energy change, delta G does not change. But it lowers this activation energy. So this is what an enzyme does. It converts a substrate into a product. This is how a function, this is how an enzyme works. So we now go to the next part. We will be talking about a concept known as chemical equilibrium. So what is a chemical equilibrium essentially? Say a reaction A, it is getting converted, this is the forward reaction, to B, and the reverse reaction is B to A. So this is a rate constant K forward, and this is the rate constant K reverse. Now say for in a reaction there is a chemical formula known as law of mass action. So the rate of the forward reaction is proportional to the concentration of the substrate, that is A. As much more A present, the more faster the rate of the forward reaction. A gets converted to B. So this is the rate of the forward reaction. This is the concentration of A. And if you add a proportionality constant, RF is equal to, you write, this is KF into constant of A. Similarly, R reverse, it is proportional to the concentration of the product, the back reaction. It is according to law of mass action. This is proportional to B. So if you add a proportionality constant, this is small k actually. So this becomes B. And this is constant for a particular reaction, this Kf. concentration of A and B varies, and that will change the rate. For a particular reaction, this K value is constant. Therefore, it's known as a rate constant. So, at when equilibrium takes place, you have the rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of the rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of reverse reaction, and that essentially means Kf A Kr B, or this can be written as Kf by Kr is equal to concentration of B by concentration of A at equilibrium. This is at when equilibrium is taking place. And this value this is given another term, and this is known as the big K, or this is the equilibrium constant. Now, in terms of in practical layman's term, how do you analyze this? Say A, but say for example, concentration of A, this is has got a concentration, say this is moles per liter. Okay. So when you give this particular reaction, this basically, okay, I will come to this a bit later. Let us first consider this particular. Let us see the reaction rate of A gets converted into B. This is 10 to the power minus 4 per second, and this is 10 to the power minus 6 per second. It becomes per second because concentration cancels out. RF is moles per second and concentration is moles. So moles on one side, this side, and moles on this side gets cancelled. Say for example, I am writing here moles per second, and this is moles. So what happens is when you bring it on both sides, they cancel, and so it is measured as, the unit becomes per second. It remains as per second because the moles are cancelling on both sides. So the rate constant value which you put, K, let's write it a bit more clearly. I will erase it later. So RF, you are writing moles per second. That is equal to Kf into a mole. So what is K? The unit of Kf? Moles per second divided by moles. So the moles are cancelling, and so the unit of Kf is some value per second. Some value x per second. So this is how it cancels. No, I erase this part now for my.
আচ্ছা নিয়ে এসো তাড়াতাড়ি 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 এসো না ওটা না ওটা না ওটা না ওটা না তেল দেবো পুরো ঠিক চলো দেরি হয়ে যাচ্ছে দাদা দিদির কাছে চলে আসবে হাতে লেগে যাবে কিন্তু উঠে পড়ো ওই যে মাউসি এসছে ওদিকে মাউসি 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 তো মাউসি
Okay, I'm just clearing up this part. So I need the space actually. Okay, now let's get back to the subject. Now, in this particular reaction, you find this result. So, what is KEQ? Products by substrate. That is K forward by K reverse. That is 10 to the power minus 4 by 10 to the power minus 6. And that is equal to 100. And what this signifies is the rate of the forward reaction 10 to the power minus 4 per second is 100 times more than the rate of the reverse reaction. So if 10 to the power, the more the value minus 6, that means the reaction rate is much less. So the forward reaction will take place much more than the reverse reaction. So this is the outcome of this result. Now let us get back to the enzyme part again. So we will now talk about factors which affect enzyme activity. So first is temperature. How does temperature affect activity? So this is the reaction rate. Reaction rate is measured in moles per second, amount of product formed per second. And this you measure, it's the temperature. So at lower temperature, each enzyme has got a temperature optimal. It goes, increases, and then as you increase the temperature, it decreases. So this part is known as the optimal temperature. So at this temperature you get the maximum. Each enzyme has got a different optimal temperature. Similarly, the second thing which functions, which affects, is the pH of the enzyme. This is also the same. This is known as the pH optima. So you keep on increasing pH over here, and this is the reaction rate. So you see it increases and then it starts to decrease. Funny part is that if you may draw a curve, enzyme in the stomach, they work at lower pH. This is say for trypsin, and this is enzymes in the intestine. They have the digestive enzymes, alkaline pH. So in the stomach, this alkaline, and this is acidic optima. So enzymes which work in the intestine will not work in the stomach, and enzymes of the stomach will not work in the intestine because their pH optima differs, because stomach is acidic and intestine is alkaline. Stomach goes at minus 2, 3, pH 2, 3, and alkaline intestine 8, 9, like that. So there is a difference. So stomach enzymes, trypsin becomes inactive when it goes into the intestine. So because trypsin works at acidic pH. So there, these are certain aspects which are utilized, and of course, when if you keep on increasing the enzyme concentration, initially, what happens? The rate, more enzyme, more rate. Then it reaches a maximum, after which the reaction rate. This is the reaction rate, and this is the progress of the reaction. After which it does not increase anymore. This is also the optimal activity of enzyme. So enzyme is working at full activity. Even if you give more enzyme, the reaction rate will not increase, if provided the substrate concentration remains the same. Now we will talk about certain few more aspects. Enzyme classification. So this you can understand, there are 6 types of enzymes. One are the oxidoreductases. Then you have the transferases. Then you have the hydrolases. Then you have the lyases, isomerases, and the ligases. So if you consult my notes, this is just a mug up chapter. Consult my notes. If you consult my notes or any standard textbook, you will get, you can this is nothing, you have to just remember. You have to remember how the function works. So this is enzyme classification, all these 6 enzymes. The next part is so how is enzyme activity is measured as in enzyme units. হ্যাঁ
আমার গ্যাসটা লাগিয়ে দিতে পারবি না থাক থাক থাক
just check second. It is measured in enzyme units. So it is actually the amount of product formed per unit time. That is, say for example 1 micromole per minute. This is equal to 1 enzyme unit. That is equal to another term known as 16.67 nanocatal. So enzyme velocity is measured in units known as catal. So this is an enzyme unit. You measure enzymes in this unit. So just hold on for a minute. I'll just come from a particular work and I'll continue. In the next part, we will go talk about another aspect, and that is the Michaelis-Menten equation. So if you consider a particular, there is a lot of derivation, but which you are there in your syllabus, but I rarely see them coming in the exam, and I don't see it coming right now also. So let us look at a reaction E plus enzyme plus substrate K1, this is K2. It forms an enzyme substrate intermediate. This enzyme substrate intermediate has got only a forward reaction. The reverse reaction is not considered. This is K3. This forms enzyme plus product. So Michaelis and Menten, they did lot of empirical studies and they came across a particular equation, and that is V0, or the velocity of a reaction, is equal to V max into concentration of the substrate divided by Km plus S. Now what is this? Let us have a look at the peak at the graph. What happens? So when a reaction starts to take place, this is, I am drawing the graph. So this is the reaction velocity and this is the concentration of substrate. You keep on increasing the substrate concentration and this is the velocity of the reaction. So gradually, as you increase the substrate concentration according to the law of motion, the rate of the reaction keeps on increasing. It keeps on increasing till almost a thing known as theoretically a maximum reaction is reached, and that is known as Vmax. A hyperbolic curve, it almost reaches maximum, but it's still not maximum till that is reached. And so this half of Vmax is Vmax by 2, and if you go on the curve and go to the substrate concentration, this is Km. So Km essentially, it is the substrate concentration at which half Vmax is reached, and Km is also the equilibrium constant. This is equal to, so the reverse reaction are, what are the reverse reactions which are taking place? One is, this is a K2 reaction, one, this is a reverse reaction, and two forward reaction, one this and one this. So rate of disappearance of enzyme, you are talking about rate of disappearance of enzyme substrate. So this comes as oh Baba Shoddi. So rate of disappearance of ES and the rate of formation of ES, a ratio. So formation of substrate and removal product. So that is, just remember this formula, K2 plus K3. So enzyme substrate complex It's one way this is becoming K2, and this way it is becoming disappearing one, it's forming enzyme from substrate, and in one side it's forming enzyme from product. So K2, and how much it is produced, we are not considering K4 or the reverse reaction, we are only considering K1 divided by K1. This is also Km, and theoretically it is the substrate concentration at which half of Vmax is reached. Now a problem occurs when you are considering Michaelis-Menten equation or parabolic curve. Okay, let's consider this. Theoretically, this hyperbola almost reaches max but doesn't reaches. It reaches maximum at infinity, so it's almost a little less. So in this equation, this V, you don't get the real value of Vmax then. Your Vmax is a bit almost practically it is you can consider round it off and say the same, but you cannot get the real, mathematically you cannot get the exact Vmax value. So to counter this problem, there is a double reciprocal plot which has been taken, and it is known as the Lineweaver-Burks plot. It's a double reciprocal plot. You, instead of 1 by V, this V becomes 1 by V, and this becomes 1 by substrate concentration. All you divide it by 1, it make it double reciprocal plot. Result is you get the line becomes straight, and this point here and this point are very important, since this is minus 1 by Km and this plot is 1 by Vmax. So if you get the value divided by 1, you get an accurate value. So effectively this Lineweaver-Burks plot practically gives a more accurate result. So today's class, I am ending my class today. In the next class we will talk about two things: enzyme regulation and enzyme inhibition, where we will be talking about concepts like allosteric regulation, or we will consider about different types of inhibition. So we will be talking about that. With this, I am stopping my sharing right now. And if you people have got any questions, you can please ask me the questions. I will send the recording, of course. Question আছে কিছু?
না স্যার।
ঠিক আছে, তাহলে পরের দিন আমি বলে দিচ্ছি, মোস্ট প্রবাবলি কালকেই নেব আমি ক্লাসটা, হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু টাইমটা বলে দিচ্ছি, একটু শরীরটার ওপরে একটু আমি বলছি তোমাকে, হ্যাঁ। সো তোমাদের আমি কালকেই নেওয়ার ইচ্ছে আছে। আমি এনজাইম রেগুলেশন অ্যান্ড এনজাইম ইনহিবিশনটা পড়িয়ে দিতে চাই। ঠিক আছে, আমি তোমাদের জানিয়ে দেবো। ওকে, রাখছি তাহলে। ঠিক আছে, হ্যাঁ।